Uh, you guys have been incredibly attentive during this whole day today. There were a few other things that we felt were really important to talk about today, and I hope you can just keep your eyes open for a few more minutes and just hang in there with us. But this being our first meeting, we really felt like there were some things we owed to you, even if you didn't feel like we owed them to you. Anyway, I wanted to just have Reina Yadlapati come up here. She's going to talk some about what we alluded to earlier in terms of the consensus building that we're trying to do. Steve Leeds will follow with just a survey review, and Christy Dunst is going to talk about membership engagement. So, Reina, thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Raj.
I got to pull up the slides first.
Okay, wonderful. Well, good evening, everybody. We've been talking about consensus a lot today. You've heard that word, thrown around a lot. So I'm going to just take a few minutes to talk about why consensus is so important and integral to the AFS. I'm just going to get my slides up. Okay, 1 second.
Tell us a joke, Reina.
Oh, goodness. Well, you know what? I once again wanted to thank Kate for the extraordinary work that you've put into all this. So I just wanted to give you another round of applause. Thank you. So that is not a joke at all, but thank you. Okay, so why is consensus a priority in the AFS? John Lippam was talking about how we all belong to different societies, SAGES, ACG, AGA, and we all have our own set of recommendations and guidelines. And sometimes these recommendations are at odds with one another. And sometimes they just outright contradict each other. I think one limitation of the guidelines that have been developed by our societies is that they usually encompass one perspective. But with the AFS, we now have the opportunity to actually incorporate multi-specialty consensus, get multiple perspectives, and really start moving the field forward with guidelines and practice recommendations. So how do we do this? We've been talking about this a lot, but how do we actually dive deep into this and make this a reality? So I'm going to just talk a little bit about group decision-making methods and what types of methods we can use as a society to start moving towards multidisciplinary guidelines. So I'm sure everyone's familiar with the Delphi method. This is a 2-round survey where individuals complete surveys independently, done in 2 different rounds. It's a very effective method. You can include a lot of individuals in it, but a limitation is that you usually don't meet in person, sit around a table, discuss your perspectives, and understand why the differences may exist. So another method is the RAND appropriateness method. The RAND appropriateness method is a Delphi iterative, which starts with an online survey where individuals complete a survey on their own. Then we take the results of that and we all meet in person, have a roundtable meeting, and actually discuss perspectives and our differences. And then other methods include consensus development conferences, which I'm sure we've all been a part of, or even voting, like when we're part of a committee and just polling and voting. So I'm going to spend just a little bit of time talking about the RAND appropriateness method, because this is something that we've used in FORGUT, and I think this lends itself really nicely to multi-specialty conversations and consensus. So I'm going to use the example of 2 initiatives that we recently conducted to exemplify the potential of the RAND appropriateness method. So this was all started a few years ago, where we wanted to determine what was expert opinion for anti-reflux interventions for specific patient phenotypes, patients presenting with GERD. So we started in 2016 to understand what is the esophageal motility perspective. And you can see the list of the 14 key opinion leaders that were part of the process, many of whom are here in the audience today. And then based on the results of this, we decided we really need to get the proceduralist perspective. So we started on the second initiative in 2018. And this included 15 key opinion leaders. There were 8 surgeons, 7 interventional GIs. We took a nice picture. This was from January when we all got together in Denver during the roundtable discussion. And what did we learn from these processes? So first of all, we used the RAND appropriateness method, and our goals were, we wanted to understand where does everybody see eye to eye, but also where do our differences exist? And then based on where the differences are, can we come up with a plan moving forward to try to address these? So the first one, consensus is possible. I'm just going to show a really quick example. So these results were after the individuals completed the first online survey. And what you see is there's not a whole lot of overlap between the surgeons and the interventional GIs. There is a lot of white. White means uncertainty. So then we all met in Denver in January, and this is what we found after the roundtable discussion. There was a lot more green, a lot more red, but much less white. And so through the discussions, we were able to sort through where do we meet in the middle, where is there consensus, and essentially we were able to find that between these disciplines, consensus is possible. We also learned a few other things. So this was about a 5-hour discussion between 15 key opinion leaders. And in that, we really learned a lot of perspectives within and between the disciplines. We were able to identify goals for patient care and also think about where do we need to take research moving forward. So this is just one example. This is just the beginning of where we are with the AFS. But I really think the AFS has this potential and opportunity for us to take this leap and leverage all of our experiences to build multidisciplinary consensus. So moving forward, things that we need to do as a membership is we need to identify where are our priority areas for multidisciplinary consensus in foregut. It's much more than just anti-reflux interventions. And then, if we use the right methods, we use formal grade methodology, we identify PICO statements, we can actually take this a step further, where we develop multidisciplinary practice recommendations and guidelines, and maybe even quality measures by which others are measured and there are standards in practice. So we can really change practice as a multidisciplinary community. And I just think this is very, very exciting. So I'm happy to talk about this offline with anyone if anyone has any questions, but thank you.